So joining us tonight in the studio is political communication analyst and senior lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Journalism, Dr. Eche Kanku. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, Francis.
You are a man who loves to analyze communication in every sense, written, spoken, every form. And we will look at it tonight. We will also be joined via Zoom from Kenya, Bobby Mkangi. He's a political scientist and one of the gentlemen who was instrumental in the crafting of the Constitution of Kenya, the 2010 Constitution of Kenya, member of the Committee of Experts that crafted that particular Constitution, to have a broader conversation about the power of words and elections and what to look at, especially when the build-ups begin, and what we do in ensuring that all election-related matters are properly taken care of. So, Doc, let me start with you with the words of the former president. Today is the NDC's 28th birthday as a party and its existence. He met the rank and file. It was a flag-raising ceremony. And then he makes this comment that Ghanaians should be under no illusion that the NDC will accept flawed elections. It's coming a day before the Supreme Court takes a decision on the suit brought before it by the party, questioning the EC's decision to, in essence, take out the voter ID card as one of the means of identifying a Ghanaian to register for the new voters register. Before we look at the specifics and the wording, let's look at the general message. What do you make of the former president's comment at the ceremony and what it does by implication?
All right, so every election is a test of a country's democratic systems and processes. And one of the systems or processes and institutions that is so central to an election is the Electoral Commission. And so this is really a test of the legitimacy, the strength, and the quality of our democratic system as a country, the system, the process, and the institution itself. Don't forget that this is happening against the backdrop of Ghana being seen as an exemplar or as an icon of democracy, and you'd expect that by this time we would have moved towards a more rigorous consolidation of our democracy. But then there are still questions about the process involved in the democratic process. And remember that elections are so central to democracy. In fact, the outcome of an election, or the legitimacy or not of an election and its outcome, is central to, first of all, its acceptance, and secondly, whether people are really whether there's going to be peace or stability. I'm happy you mentioned Kenya. You remember, if you look at all the recent conflicts from Ivory Coast, Kenya, Zimbabwe, a lot of the conflict has been centered around the legitimacy or the acceptability of the election or not. And in this case, the question that is central to whether that outcome will be accepted or not hovers around the basis or the register for that particular election.
And people's eligibility.
So at stake with this is the legitimacy of the election. At stake is the quality of our democracy. At stake is the image, the quality of our processes, our systems, our democratic or electoral institutions, and of course the peace and stability of our country. So this is really the backdrop against which all of this is happening. The last historical backdrop is that it's happening against the controversy surrounding the appointment of the EC chair. I mean, whether you like it or not, wherever you stand, that appointment, the removal of the former and the current, had been an issue for controversy.
For quite a while now.
Yeah, for quite a while.
So now fast forward 25 weeks and 5 days to an election, the leader of the main opposition party, the NDC, makes this comment and says, people should not be under the illusion that they will accept the results of a flawed election. What does this say to you? Is this a conciliatory message? Is it a warning? How do we analyze this?
Well, I think that it is a concern that is being registered in the strongest of terms. Remember that it's not just the opposition party, but then it's been certain civil society organizations, certain non-governmental organizations, which have also expressed that concern of the voters register. And also today, so the context is always important, right? When communication happens, within what context does it happen?
Yes.
Today is the 28th, if I'm right, anniversary of the party. And so it is a time for the political party to take stock and see where they've been, where they are, and where they are going. We didn't see a lot of that. But then he used that opportunity because he knew there would be a lot of attention. He used that opportunity to demonstrate a particular concern. And so that concern has been expressed. And so when somebody communicates something, you ask, what is the function of that communication? What is the goal? So first of all, like I said, the goal is to express a concern in the most strongest terms. The second thing is that he is also demonstrating leadership because and remember, if you listen carefully to his words, he said, as the leader of the NDC. So he's demonstrating leadership here. And what does a leader do? A leader is channeling the concerns of his followers. And so you can realize that there's a demonstrable angst or a demonstrable concern among the followers regarding the voters register. And that is festering below the leader. And as the leader, there's probably some sort of pressure or there's some sort of agitation for him to express those concerns in the most strongest terms. And he's the face of the party.
Okay. And do you see this as a message direct to Ghana's Electoral Commission, or it was meant to energize the base of the party on their birthday?
I think it's both of them, because if you see the former president, who is by default the leader of the opposition party when they are in opposition, he is the face of the political party. So of course the message, the immediate recipient of that message would be the EC. But remember, he's communicating not just to his base, but to the people of Ghana. And so there are different things that are happening at the same time. First of all, he's also preparing the ground for any unforeseen events that could happen in the future. And is that worrisome? Well, worrisome, I would say that what we need to ask is that, are those concerns just parochial, narrow, partisan, self-interested concerns? Or are they general? Are they broader? I think it's a mixture of the two. Because
worrisome can be assessed in two veins. Is it a worrisome reaction to an action by a player like the Ghana's Electoral Commission, or worrisome to the extent that the leader of the opposition party feels and understands that there is, as you may have mentioned earlier, considerable angst within the rank and file of the party, that the posture of the EC is what they do not like, and so they have to express it in the strongest terms through their leader?
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that you have to look at the aim or the intention of that communication or of that particular message. And I'm saying that the intention is manifold, is twofold.
Yes.
First of all, to express that concern regarding the Electoral Commission, because it's supposed to be an independent arbiter of the electoral process. And anytime what the Electoral Commission needs to do is to engender confidence, is to engender trust, is to engender some sort of belief in or the authenticity of their process within the parties that are involved. And anytime any of this, there's a shadow cast regarding any of these variables that I've mentioned, then it sort of undermines the image or the perception of a legitimate election.
I know.
And so it negates the outcome. Remember that elections are supposed to reflect the voice of the people. And so any action that is deemed to undermine the voice of or the choice of the people is problematic. So to that extent, yes. But then of course he's also communicating within a political setting or a political event.
I'll come and ask about again the timing of this message with one eye on tomorrow's event. But before that, let's now speak to Bobby Nkangi. He is also a political scientist and a member of the committee of experts that crafted the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. Good morning to you, Bobby.